Obviously the Mykonos, I got photographed, in the airport. You know that I would never want to do anything on purpose that would hurt you or the kids. I really am sorry for, hurting you. I would never want to hurt you on purpose.
He called himself Beverly Hills' #1 realtor, the husband every housewife envied, the man who built a luxury empire from scratch.
It's unsavable.
What do you mean? Ah! Are you nuts? What if this is the wrong side?
But behind the million-dollar listings, Netflix stardom, and picture-perfect marriage was a trail of lawsuits, scandals, and betrayal.
So I wanted to tell you, Sophia's first day, she came in late for her first day, but it doesn't matter, it was her first day, and she looked super cute.
Well, that's important.
Well, you could tell that she put a whole bunch of effort into, her arrival to, work. And you know how we're all scared of Sophia?
Yes.
Right?
By the way, she can't know.
From shady real estate deals to accusations of fraud to cheating rumors that shattered his so-called perfect family, Mauricio Umansky's empire isn't what it seems. This is the shady truth about Mauricio Umansky and why fans say the real estate king's empire is finally crumbling.
Truth is, we haven't built it yet. We're still building it.
You've worked with billionaires and royalty and celebrities.
It's a lot of fun to deal with these celebrities, a lot of fun.
What has been your secret to scaling this quickly?
Having no fear, surrounding myself with the most incredible team.
You are in business with your daughters.
Yeah.
Mauricio Umansky wasn't born into Bravo stardom. He started out as a hungry real estate agent in Los Angeles, grinding his way into the world of luxury properties. In the early 2000s, he worked his way through agencies like Hilton and Highland, cutting deals in the playground of the rich and famous. He had the ambition, the connections, and the charm to climb fast. But Mauricio didn't just want to sell homes, he wanted to build an empire. In 2011, he launched The Agency, branding himself as Beverly Hills' #1 luxury broker. With slick marketing, bold branding, and an army of young agents, the agency quickly became a power player in the world of high-end real estate. It wasn't just about houses. It was about image, prestige, and creating a lifestyle brand.
We started back in 2011, and it was really through just frustration. Kind of, I guess, similar to the story that you're telling, Wyatt, right now, which is, your frustration. You were kind of a little bit burned out. We were just talking, walking into here, and you and I started in real estate at the exact same time, and we're the same age and all that stuff. I'm not going to say how old we are. We'll keep that away from this. Yeah.
And Mauricio had the perfect partner to boost that image, Kyle Richards. Marrying into the Richards-Hilton dynasty, Mauricio gained instant credibility. Kyle was a real housewife of Beverly Hills, a Bravo star with diamonds, designer bags, and deep Hollywood roots. Together, they crafted the picture of the perfect Beverly Hills power couple. He sold the mansions, she showed off the lifestyle, and Bravo cameras captured it all.
Ooh, super sexy.
On The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Mauricio was portrayed as the dream husband. Loyal, successful, and handsome. Fans envied Kyle's fairy tale life, the mansions, the private jets, the extravagant vacations. Their Instagram feeds were filled with family photos, luxury cars, and sunset views from multi-million-dollar homes. To the outside world, Mauricio was living proof that hard work and charm could buy the ultimate American dream. But as Mauricio's fame grew, so did the pressure to keep up appearances. The agency wasn't just a business anymore. It was a brand tied to his family, his marriage, and his reputation. Every deal, every photo op, every Bravo episode had to sell the fantasy of perfection. And in Beverly Hills, nothing cracks faster than a perfect image.
How was your trip?
It was nice. A lot of spas, a lot of sound healing, spiritual healing. I only partied 5 nights out of the 25 nights I was
Very
gone.
hard to believe.
Because while Mauricio was building his empire, whispers were already starting. Whispers about shady deals, inflated egos, and cracks in the fairy tale marriage that Bravo had sold to millions of viewers.
Now the problem is that all of our competitors have realized that. They're starting to try to teach that. They're trying to copy that. But you know what you can't copy in a company? You can't copy culture.
Success built on perfection rarely stays perfect. And for Mauricio Umansky, the downfall was already quietly beginning. In 2016, Mauricio sold a Malibu estate once owned by former NBA star Carlos Boozer. On paper, it looked like just another massive luxury deal. But within months, the sale spiraled into lawsuits, accusations of fraud, and allegations that Mauricio had personally profited at the expense of his client.
This is one of those iconic Hollywood homes. It's been owned by great celebrities, Ronald Colman back in the day, the George Clooney of his day, and now, Michael C. Hall.
It's Dexter's Digs to die for. A killer courtyard, backyard pond, and old school Hollywood style.
Here's how it went down. The property was seized by the U.S. government after its previous owner was accused of money laundering. The mansion was later put back on the market, and Mauricio represented the buyer. But court filings claim Mauricio and his partners flipped the house for millions more, without disclosing key details to his client. In other words, critics said he played both sides, cashing in while his client got burned. The accusations were brutal. Lawsuits called the deal shady, alleging Mauricio failed to disclose higher offers and orchestrated the resale behind closed doors. Words like fraud and self-dealing started showing up in court documents. For a man who built his empire on trust and branding himself as Beverly Hills' #1 realtor, it was a disaster. Mauricio denied any wrongdoing, insisting the deal was legitimate. But the legal fight dragged on for years, tarnishing his reputation. Every headline about the agency came with the words lawsuit and fraud attached. Fans who once saw Mauricio as Bravo's golden boy started asking if the real estate mogul was just another shady operator in designer suits. Meanwhile, on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the scandal barely got a mention. Cameras showed Mauricio and Kyle living the dream, throwing parties and jetting off on vacations. While in the real world, he was tangled in legal drama that could have cost him millions. By 2019, the lawsuit was still making headlines, and Mauricio's carefully polished image was slipping. He wasn't just Kyle's dream husband anymore. He was a businessman with serious legal baggage. And while he tried to brush it off, insisting the truth was on his side, fans couldn't ignore the optics. The Beverly Hills power couple showing off their wealth on Bravo, while behind the scenes, courts accused Mauricio of shady dealings. The Malibu mansion mess was more than a lawsuit. It was the first big crack in Mauricio's empire, and it exposed just how fragile his so-called perfect life really was. If the Malibu mansion mess cracked Mauricio's perfect image, Netflix took a sledgehammer to it. In 2021, Mauricio leveled up his fame when Netflix launched Buying Beverly Hills, a glossy reality series about the agency. For Mauricio, it was the ultimate power move. Not just selling homes to millionaires, but selling himself as Beverly Hills' real estate king. The cameras followed him, his daughters Farrah and Alexia, and his army of agents as they juggled mega mansions and million-dollar commissions. On screen, Mauricio leaned hard into the role of family man. The loving husband, the proud dad, the mentor, Netflix painted him as the cool boss who balanced luxury deals with family dinners. But while viewers were watching a polished Mauricio on Netflix, the tabloids were telling a much darker story: cheating rumors. By 2022, whispers were everywhere. Mauricio wasn't as loyal to Kyle as Bravo, and Netflix made him seem. Paparazzi spotted him getting a little too close to women on vacation. Anonymous blogs claimed he had a wandering eye. And then came the bombshell: photos of Mauricio in Greece, partying and kissing another woman while Kyle was thousands of miles away.
No, I'm spending a lot of time by myself, and and kind of getting to learn myself and to enjoy myself, and I've been enjoying that process. I'm not in a rush to do anything at the moment. I am enjoying the journey, and I'm learning from myself.
The images went viral. Fans who had spent a decade calling him the dream husband suddenly had receipts suggesting otherwise. Social media lit up with accusations. Had Mauricio been unfaithful for years? Was this the real reason cracks were showing in his marriage to Kyle? Kyle didn't help the situation. On RHOBH, she started dropping hints, cryptic comments about trust, loyalty, and distance. Their once perfect marriage suddenly looked not so perfect. At Bravo reunions, Kyle dodged questions, insisting they were working through issues. But the more she avoided, the more fans assumed the worst.
She saw what I was doing, she started crying. And because she started crying, I started crying.
By 2023, the story exploded. Multiple outlets reported Kyle and Mauricio were officially separated after 27 years of marriage. And while the couple tried to spin it as amicable, even posting joint family photos, fans weren't buying it. Between the lawsuits, the cheating rumors, and Kyle's icy Bravo confessionals, it was clear the Beverly Hills power couple had fallen apart.
You've gone through a tough few months, tough year, whatever you want to call it, right? Having a session with him helps me be more in tune with myself.
For Mauricio, the timing couldn't have been worse. Buying Beverly Hills was supposed to make him a global brand, the real estate mogul that viewers around the world trusted. Instead, it turned him into tabloid fodder. Clips of him mentoring his daughters were drowned out by paparazzi shots of him with other women. And fans started asking the question no Bravo husband ever wants to hear: was Mauricio's empire built on charm and hard work, or just smoke, mirrors, and lies? What Netflix gave Mauricio in fame, the tabloids took away in trust. The king of Beverly Hills real estate was suddenly the man accused of cheating, scamming, and breaking the very image he'd spent decades selling. And the worst part? The downfall was just getting started. The cracks in Mauricio's world finally split wide open in 2023. After months of rumors, Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky confirmed what fans already suspected. Their 27-year marriage was on pause. Kyle called it a separation. Mauricio said they were still figuring things out. But the message was clear. The Beverly Hills power couple that Bravo built its brand on was no longer intact. On The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the storyline dominated. Kyle said at the reunion, dodging questions about trust and betrayal. Mauricio posted cryptic Instagram captions about resilience and family. For a couple that once flaunted their perfect marriage, the silence was deafening. Fans couldn't decide what was worse, the separation itself, or the way both of them kept dancing around the truth. But the marriage drama wasn't Mauricio's only problem. His real estate empire, the agency, was facing heat from multiple directions. Remember the Malibu mansion scandal? Lawsuits tied to that deal dragged on for years, and new complaints kept piling up. Former clients accused Mauricio of shady practices. Competitors accused the agency of playing dirty and bidding wars. And critics claimed Mauricio's charm wasn't enough to cover the reality, that his empire was built on aggressive deals and blurred ethical lines. By 2024, headlines about lawsuits were almost as common as his Netflix promos. Court sketches, legal filings, and disgruntled clients were now part of Mauricio's public brand. Every time Buying Beverly Hills released a new season, the tabloids dropped another story about a lawsuit or financial scandal. And then there was the Kyle factor. The longer the separation dragged on, the more speculation grew. Fans dissected every RHOBH episode, every Instagram post, every red carpet moment. Why wasn't Mauricio wearing his ring? Why was Kyle spotted with Morgan Wade more than her own husband? The gossip machine fed into Mauricio's downfall, painting him as the cheating husband who lost both his wife and his empire in the same breath. On Netflix, Mauricio tried to keep up appearances. Buying Beverly Hills showed him as the boss, the mentor, the family man. But fans weren't fooled. Comment sections filled with questions about Kyle, about the lawsuits, about the grease photos. Viewers weren't watching for real estate anymore. They were watching for cracks in Mauricio's image.
I think you got it.
Yes.
You honestly understood the assignment perfectly.
Do you not know the history behind this house? This is the infamous murder house. Now.
And the empire? Even that wasn't safe. By 2025, reports suggested the agency was facing serious financial strain. Too many lawsuits, too much negative press, and a reality TV brand that no longer felt polished. Mauricio had spent years selling luxury, but now he was selling damage control. The king of Beverly Hills real estate was cornered, his marriage in shambles, his reputation dragged through tabloids, and his business empire under siege. For years, Mauricio had been the untouchable Bravo husband, the dream man, the mogul. But now, fans saw something else entirely. They saw a hustler caught in his own hustle, a man whose empire was crumbling, not because of one mistake, but because of years of shady choices finally catching up. And for Mauricio Umansky, the final chapter of this downfall was about to be written. By 2025, the glossy shine of Mauricio Umansky's empire had completely worn off. Once upon a time, he was the Bravo husband every fan envied. The loyal partner, the doting dad, the business genius who built a real estate kingdom out of nothing. But by now, that image looked more like a carefully staged listing than a home you could actually live in. The cracks weren't cracks anymore. They were gaping holes. His marriage to Kyle Richards, once called the strongest in Beverly Hills, was no longer repairable. What started as a quiet separation turned into a public unraveling. Kyle leaned into her friendship with Morgan Wade, sparking endless headlines about emotional affairs and new beginnings. Mauricio, on the other hand, was caught in paparazzi photos with women who weren't his wife. Every new image poured gasoline on the fire, proving to fans that the dream marriage had been a facade.
She's never seen the show, and she did not realize the attention it gets. It was a lot of scrutiny for her. She was not comfortable with. It's like every single day, like Page 6, Daily Mail, TMZ, you know.
Just speculating about the...
On The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Kyle cried about betrayal while Mauricio avoided the cameras. Their once shared storyline had become a tug of war, each of them trying to spin the narrative. But for Bravo fans, there was no spin strong enough to erase the truth. The Richards-Umansky marriage was over, and the perfect family man image Mauricio sold for over a decade had collapsed.
When the news first came out, it was really, really devastating, the whole family. I mean, our phones were blowing up, my kids were just crying and wouldn't leave the house, and it was really, really difficult. But now they're much better, and they're really strong, and they're just so together and so smart, and they've been my best friends, and I could not be more proud of them. They're just amazing human beings, and thank God I have them through this.
And then came the business troubles. The agency, once the crown jewel of his career, was drowning in legal battles and bad press. Every lawsuit, every disgruntled client, every shady deal resurfaced online, magnified by the court of public opinion. Former colleagues whispered that the company wasn't what it used to be, that Mauricio had stretched himself too thin chasing fame instead of real estate. Even buying Beverly Hills, the Netflix show that was supposed to turn him into a global mogul, became part of the problem. Fans didn't watch to see houses anymore. They watched to dissect his marriage, to laugh at his awkward attempts to dodge cheating rumors, to mock the so-called luxury king whose empire was now dripping in scandal. What was meant to cement his legacy had turned into a highlight reel of his downfall. And the public? They weren't forgiving. Comment sections called him shady, a fraud, and a cheater. Bravo fans who once called him the only likable house husband now branded him part of the problem. His empire wasn't inspiring anymore. It was embarrassing. Mauricio Umansky wanted to be remembered as Beverly Hills' #1 realtor. Instead, by 2025, he had become a cautionary tale, a man who had everything: the wife, the family, the empire, and lost it all because he couldn't keep the lies, the lawsuits, and the scandals under control.
Did you want it to?
Of course. I wasn't married to this man for 28 years because you're
not faking it at 28 years.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not. Anybody knows I did not want to be in this position.
The truth about Mauricio wasn't glamorous. It wasn't luxury listings, Instagram perfection, or Netflix stardom. The truth was shady. The truth was broken. And the truth was finally out there for everyone to see. For Mauricio, the final image wasn't of a king sitting on his throne. It was of a hustler watching his empire crumble, piece by piece, as the cameras rolled and the world judged every last move. From Bravo's dream husband to Netflix's real estate mogul, Mauricio Umansky built his image on loyalty, success, and perfection. But behind the cameras was a trail of lawsuits, cheating rumors, and scandals that finally caught up. Was Mauricio the victim of fame and bad timing, or was his empire always built on shady deals and broken promises? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss more shocking celebrity scandals and downfalls.